हाँ
हाँ, मुझे एक बार देखे थे ये
सो
सेफ्टी इम्पोर्टेंट गाइस। कंगारू को भी लगेगी।
तूने
भाई ने
कंगारू को भी सीट बेल्ट लगेगी।
भाई ने
कंगारू को सीट बेल्ट
हमारे-
जरूरी है। आवाज वहाँ से आ रही है जहाँ वहाँ से रहे। Prada, Balenciaga. आया मैं। प्लेन आना चाहिए। अरे यार वीडियो लेने दो। सारा ज्यादा अच्छा है।
वो अपने को दिखेगा।
बस बस बस, वो तो बाद में डालेंगे। 30 अपना है 22 23। जल्दी करो। अभी तक पूरे ऑस्ट्रेलिया में हम लोग 1 रूम ही लिए थे जिसमें 2 किंग बेड्स होते थे। तो मतलब 1 रूम स्पेस ही मिलता था और ये पहली बार हमें इतना बड़ा स्पेस मिला है। मज़ा आ गया, बिल्कुल फ्लैट टाइप।
दो शावर है
एक बाथटब है। देखो स्पा बबल किधर है, दिखाओ। दो दूसरा शावर।
दो जने एक साथ ठीक है।
उसके बाद ब्रेड खाओगे।
Hopefully that'll work. It's a bit like English, but you know. Right. So quickly, safety briefing. Fire extinguisher up here in case we need it. University. To our left-hand side, obviously the park. But you can see that it's all. Oh, you've even got Sky Tower in the background there. It's all trees from outside of New Zealand. And years ago, late 1800s, early 1900s. If you needed to order something from the think that you've arrived in the wrong city and that you'd arrived you can't go very far in Auckland without going up and down. See it overly busy, so that's a good sign probably. And you can see all the balconies and little ramps and things to get you from one to the other. And they reckon a good shopper could spend 2 hours just wandering from shop to shop. But you can sort of see late model buildings, then you've got your 2 Kauri buildings here. Sort of all mixed in together. And we pop out of the church. Behind it is an old Kauri building. But that one used to be on the other side of the road. And they got the new piece of property, built the new church, then they were going to sell the piece of property. So it has a dual purpose. Now, anybody, well, I shouldn't ask this question. Well, I will ask this question, but there's a reasonably good answer to it. Has anyone heard of ANZAC? So Australia, New Zealand Army Corps. So you can see the wreath has been laid, and that's a hot spot for everybody to come to for it's still only about 340 metres high, so it's not high in regards to Mount St Helens or anything like that. And normally from here we can look out to sea and we can top of, and one called North Head, which sits in the middle of the harbour, which is really nice at 2 and 3 and 4 in the morning. You're trying to sleep. This is the crater here. So if you look back to, obviously not very big, not compared to the one beside it. And the disappointing thing, I don't know if you can see at the base of it, or you can see the big, where the leaves break off, it leaves a ring around the tree. Where that big leaf, that big green area, things. Pineapples don't grow here. Damage to yourself, or you're not feeling the best, or you've got some major issue, you need to come to the hospital, which is on the right hand side. We're not allowed to go down that one, it's too steep for a bus, but we can go down this one, which is the second Cisco like.
No.
There should be a brake pedal under each seat for you guys to help me. If you look carefully when we stop at the light city, and then we're going to go across the big harbour bridge. 1800s. In fact, the Cav Gastro pub, this big building on the corner right here, was built in 1866. Been there for a while, but they're all quite big buildings, these ones. Every night, which is why they got bought up, and then over time they've just got more and more value. But look at this row here, there's about 6 in a row that have all been restored. Really, really nice. But if you look at the edge of the decks, you can see the lattice work, you can see the stained glass windows. You could think I timed this. Now that house didn't used to be 2 stories. They've bought the one that they could dig underneath it. And now they've got a laundry, they've got maybe an extra room down there. All that's added on because North Shore. Now if you live on the North Shore, you say that with your nose in the air a little bit. I live on the North Shore. It's kind of, I'm not sure why one of my sons lives over there. I'm not sure why. Look at this big place on the corner. It's an Airbnb, but lovingly restored. A lot of the finessey little bits that make it what it is. Bridge. Currently, 130,000 a day. So they didn't miss by much. Now, every now and again it closes when the wind gets really high. It's a couple of years ago. See the superstructure of the bridge at the top? It was originally 4 lanes in the middle. They've added these 2 lanes that we're driving in. Now the little wall in the middle is movable. You can see it's sectioned, and they can pick it up with a machine and they move it over one. So normally at this time of the day it would be 5 lanes into the city and 4 lanes out. 5 in, 3 out. Right now it's 4 and 4. And then later in the day they'll move the wall over. Quite unique. But all the water on the left hand side is all trapped. Say nothing. There's 2 little boat sheds down one end of it. Otherwise there's no buildings on it. You can get a ferry across there from downtown Auckland, and you can get dropped off. The ferry comes back 2 hours later, and you can walk to the top of it, take your lunch. There's nothing up there. There's no McDonald's up the tops. Straight over the bank over there, straight down to the water. But yeah, they'd buy a house in this area, so they have an address which gives them the. And then just out in front of us there, that's Mount Victoria. That's where we're heading. That's the little volcano we're going to drive up to the top of. Hopefully not get blown off the top of it. But there's Rangitoto Island. Now we're going to stop here.
Wait now.
Now right ahead of us, way off in the distance, you can hear it because water gets involved in the eruption. So big storms, typically when something's erupting, upsets the air around the area. A lot of water, probably a high tide as well. Maybe the water got involved. Just have barbecues on. I think there's a bit of competition among. This one's got a bit of a Hobbit look about it. All years ago as part of a deal to sort out some of the reparations and issues that we caused over the years. So, bit windy. What I'll do is I'll turn around so that the wind is on the opposite to the door.
कैमरा नहीं पकड़ पा रहा गाइस। पीछे शहर में चले। अब चुप रहो, तंग कर दिया है।
मम्मी थोड़ा बड़ा करो ना।
नहीं, बड़ा नहीं हो सकता।
That was set up there originally in 1883 because they're worried about a Russian invasion all the way down here of sailboats, big sailing ships that were looking around. At the right of the highest point, you can see a sort of a dark shadow. That's the crater. Then there's an island in between Rangitoto and that one is Waiheke Island, which is a very big grape growing area. The little toadstools beside us here, these mushrooms, these are vents on the top of a big water tank. They don't use late 1800s, early 1900 kauri houses. You can see the little spires on the roofs. It's always been connected to Auckland, 10 minutes by ferry. That hasn't changed. The base been there for a long time, but again, you can see Mount Eden over there. That just to the left of Mount Eden is where we started. That's the museum. Help the kids, but very problematic. Because cup, that's where the cup is. That is the boat club of choice. It's like the New York Yacht Club used to hold it for when it was held in the US. Now we've held that cup about 5 times. The country have enough money to support defending it here in New Zealand. So for the first time ever, the America's Cup. Now it's one of those things. It's like people that buy a house near the air, but she's from England, so you know you got to watch. Goes up and down with the tide. That's the sales office for the boats around it that they're selling. And that big boat on the end there, the taller one, is probably about $2 million. But this is West Haven Marina. Massive big marina. Lots of them.
Yachts.
It's interesting to see where they are and who owns them. It's quite... America's Cup, Barcelona 2024. So we don't build any cars in New Zealand. Everything gets imported, completely built. Looking after them, they basically locked the gates and said no one's driving up here. You can still walk up.
नहीं, तेरे साथ बनाना है। करो करो ना, बटरफ्लाई करो। क्लियर नहीं आ रहा है।
उतार ले।
चेहरा तो आ नहीं रहा है।
बड़ा लेना।
कॉर्नर से ले और नीचे का दिखाना, नीचे कैमरा झुका। नहीं नहीं, आजा दौड़ के आजा।
आवाज टाइट हो जाती है ना।
ये बढ़िया। ओह डर लग रहा है ना। हाँ अच्छा आ रहा है। आपको इधर को
मजा आ रहा है मम्मी।
आओ। क्या लिखा है? ऐसे नहीं कर सकते।
अब उधर कितना बड़ा दे? एम्परर नहीं है लेकिन
एम्परर पेंगुइन नाकू से भी बड़ा होता है। असली है? तुमने स्कल्पचर बनाया हुआ है।
वो तो छोटी छोटी मछली
एक्वेरियम जैसा।
कैसे करूं?
पियो जल्दी पियो। ऐसे नहीं, अच्छा से पी के दिखाओ। आपको खड़े हो जा, पकड़ के अपने आप चलेगा।
देख शार्क देख।
पापा देखो क्या है वो?
हाँ
पापा वो क्या है? पापा वो क्या है? वो भी शार्क ही है।
विशाली है।
सी प्लांट
क्या है ये?
सी फ्लावर। ये अच्छी फिश है। बाय बाय।
यहाँ पे भी रखता है।
आपस में मेल से
है ना? आग दुख गई। कलर चेंज हो रहा है इसका। अरे वाह। ओ ब्राइटनेस में बदल गया है। पावर ऑफ।
ये देखो
ले लीजिए, स्नैकिंग करनी है तो।
ना
क्या हुआ?
Aku hello